Hello everybody and welcome to another video for you. Just want to do a quick video on overwhelm, and this is going to be the latest in the video series that we're now sort of calling lockdown survival video series. You may have seen some other videos that I've done on a number of different subjects which will help you during this lockdown, and this one is the next in that series. Okay, so be sure to check out the previous videos, and I hope it all helps. But overwhelm then. What is overwhelm? What are we talking about? I've spoken to a number of people over the last sort of week or maybe a week and a half, something like that. All entrepreneurs, all saying that they're experiencing overwhelm or feeling overwhelmed, okay? And, you know, they're mentioning that sort of stuff because they feel like they've got too much stuff on their plate, all right? So what is overwhelm then? Well, in terms of like a dictionary definition, it's about being buried or drowned beneath a huge mass of something. Maybe work, maybe something else, maybe something you're putting onto yourself. It could be any of those sort of things. But in this context, it's normally around the amount of things that we think we need to do or perceive we need to do or that need to get done. Normally in a work environment, it's the sort of number of work tasks you've got to do. And that's kind of where the stresses and strains come in. But at the moment, we're down in this sort of lockdown stuff. So it's other stuff. It's work, it's home, it's homeschooling, it's the virus, it's the uncertainty, it's all those sorts of things. And they can all just kind of fizz up and become a little bit more in the mind and contribute to this feeling of overwhelm and overwhelmed. Now, our daily lives now generally are much more complex than they were, say, 10, 15, even 20 years ago. And the amount of tasks, the responsibilities, the way that the information flows back and forth now is so much faster than it ever used to be. And our brains kind of almost have a bit of a problem keeping up. And particularly keeping up with things like decisions that need to be made, okay? That seems to be one of the kind of causes of this. Our brains aren't designed to cope necessarily with the amount of information and the amount of decisions that need to be made. So that kind of adds into this whole overwhelm type scenario. Now, I mentioned I've been talking to a few people over the last couple of weeks or so, and they tend to be entrepreneurs. And I think entrepreneurs struggle a little bit more with overwhelm, particularly early on in their journeys, either as entrepreneurs or in the latest business venture, because they generally are the one-stop shop for absolutely everything, okay? But it's not healthy to constantly have that sort of high level of demand on our brains. And it can lead to some mental problems if we don't get hold of it and keep it in check to start with. So we can talk about sort of stress and anxiety, into sort of things like depression, and then the most severe cases like complete mental breakdown. All right, so we need to get hold of this and get rid of the overwhelm as soon as possible. So here we are then, some top tips to help with overwhelm, all right, to help reduce the feeling of being overwhelmed. So number one, work out what is causing you to feel that most overwhelmed, all right? Is it one task? Is it two tasks? Is it, what is it that you need to be doing? Try and figure it out and try and see if just by reducing that, see if you can reduce it in some way. Now, it might be that you can break down whatever it is that is causing this massive sort of feeling of overwhelm into smaller, more manageable chunks. And that's a really good way of looking at it. So try and find out what it is that's causing the most stress, and then see if you can break it down into smaller chunks. Second thing then, second top tip is to simplify things. It's a little bit human nature to try and overcomplicate things, okay? So if you can simplify it, that's going to help. Think about Pareto's 80-20 principle, okay? Where 80% of the results will come from 20% of the effort. So is it worth putting in the extra 80% of the effort to get 20% more results? Okay, so think about whether or not you can simplify what it is that needs to be done. Third tip then is to set up a routine. Now, this is one of the earlier videos, so if you want to go back and have a look at that. But if you do set up a routine, it will help, because what it will do is it will reduce the amount of decisions you need to make on a day-to-day basis, or even an hour-to-hour basis if you want to go down to that sort of level of detail with your routine. But it will definitely help reduce that mental workload, and that's going to be good for reducing overwhelm. Fourth thing then is to think about prioritizing your time. So if you look again at one of the videos around goals, one of the things was working on your goals was trying to put the tasks that will help you achieve your goals. So in here, what we're talking about is prioritizing your time to work on the high priority tasks that will help you achieve your goals. Okay, so have a look at that. Fifth thing then is to outsource. Outsource where possible. Now you may, if you're a bit more of a controlling type person, have a bit of difficulty with this. You may think, well, actually they could never do it as good as I could, etc., etc. But you're going to have to get over that, okay? Have a look at the things that you are trying to achieve and really seriously challenge yourself to say, okay, could someone else do that for me? Could I get someone else to do that and therefore I don't need to do it? And then you can remove that off your work plate, okay? It's really important. If you can get a lot of that done, great stuff. Number 6 then, last tip in this video is a bit of a key one really. In fact, think about it, I should have probably put it first, but make time to relax, okay? Give your brain the time it needs to relax, the downtime, the headspace, whatever you want to call it, okay? But just don't fill your entire day, whether that be 24 hours or, you know, you're working 18 hours or 8 hours, whatever it is, don't fill all of your time with stuff that's just going to put a load on your brain. You're going to need some time to relax, okay? So there we go then. What is overwhelm? Why experience it? Why you don't want to experience it? And some top tips for helping reduce it. As always, if this is any help, please make sure that you can pass on to anyone who you think might need this. Please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe as required below. And if you've got any other top tips that you want to add to the list, please feel free to stick them in the comments below. All right, hope everyone's keeping safe. Speak to you soon.